It's time now for Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild. Stay up to date with your team all season long with Call of the Wild. With head coach and GM Bliss Littler, here's the voice of your Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. I'm Arch Ecker with Wild head coach and general manager Bliss Littler. Kind of an anomaly here in the middle part of the season. It's pretty rare to get as much time off as we've ended up with. Certainly wasn't drawn up that way on the schedule, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's draw the clock back to last week, and we have to start off on Wednesday night in Trail. Big game against a very strong division opponent that sort of emerged as a front runner.
Well, they have a couple of high-end players that are back, and they're an older group, extremely well-coached group. And they play in a building that has some unique characteristics. I mean, it's an old building, smaller sheet, corners are kind of square. You have to kind of be willing to keep it real simple in there and kind of get in a rock fight with them. And we did not do a good job of keeping it simple in that building. They made us pay. They definitely took it to us, and I'll give our kids credit that we hung in there, and even down to 4 or 5 minutes left that we're still in a hockey game. But you give up 7 goals on the road that you don't deserve to win.
Yeah, of course, putting in 5 goals, most times you put 5 goals in the back of the net, you're going to win the hockey game.
Yeah, no doubt. When you score 5 goals on the road, you need to win that game. But for the most part, there might have only been 1 goal that our goalie probably would have said, you know what, I think I have to have that one. Really didn't have much of a chance on the other 6. That we just made some poor choices and left our goaltender in a very vulnerable position. And hopefully we learn from it, and next time we go in there, we'll be a little more prepared.
It seems that, the older Canadian rinks, not so much the newer ones, that tend to follow more of the modernization, I suppose, of how the corners are and even the height of the boards. You look back, some of the rinks we used to travel to, like Fernie and Kimberley and whatnot, the squared corners were commonplace. The higher boards were pretty common as well.
You know what? If it's your building, you call it historic and legendary. If it's not your building, you call it old. But you know what? They do a great job. They do a great job there. The new owner there is amazing. I mean, he's done a great job. He's revived the whole program. That Mr. Ryan's he's done a great job there. Cam's done a great job coaching them. They figured out the type of player that they need to get to play in Trail, and they've done a great job. But we just have to. The corners are square. There's not a lot of room in the corners, and where we like to have a little more flow to our game, it's all tough ice up there, and we just need to be more prepared and willing to put ourselves in that type of a battle and play that type of hockey game. But what I see is they're really good in their building, but they might even be better. They might even be constructed better when they get on a bigger sheet of ice. That I think they're a good hockey club that they're going to have to be reckoned with. I mean, no doubt about it that they're feeling great about themselves right now. And I know we went up there and beat them in overtime, second week of the season, I think. But we've had success in that building, so it's not like we can't have success there. But we have a much younger group that has to learn that when you have to muck it out and chip pucks in and really more so take care of the puck. That you just can't give up the number of outnumbered chances we gave up and expect to beat a quality team on the road.
The prime historian for all things Wenatchee Wild would have to be Chris Clark. And I spoke with Clarkie to verify, but as it turns out, and it's surprising it hasn't happened more given our location, but last Friday's game, which was canceled or postponed with Powell River because of travel, they were unable to get here with a bus situation. It's never happened in Wenatchee Wild history. It's the first time that we've had to reschedule a game because the team was unable to get here. So obviously unfortunate, but it's just one of those things you have to deal with.
Well, in the North American League, the teams always flew in a day ahead of time. So that would never be a problem because they planned ahead and they're here a day ahead of time. And I'm not really sure why Paul River, they left on Thursday, but instead of coming all the way here, they stopped, I think, in Surrey or in Langley, something like that, and they stayed overnight in Langley, and then they left in the afternoon, and then they had bus problems. So, postponements happen in junior hockey. Usually it's weather related, and usually that happens. But I think one time in 10 years, I think that that's pretty lucky, and you're glad that the bus problem they had is nothing that put anybody in danger. So again, we'll make it up later in the year, and it's unfortunate because we've been playing. I think we've had 5 straight weeks of 5 or 3 game weeks, and the reason you have those 3 game weeks is, this early in the year, you have a 1 game week to start out with, and anytime you have a 1 game week, it's going to create for sure a 3 game week later on, and this was a 2 game week, and now it's created another 3 game week later in the season, which nobody likes to do that. And, but like I say, it happened. We'll deal with it, and definitely look forward to seeing Paul River in here, that they bring a quality team, and again, it's one of the most well-coached teams in the league. So again, we always look forward to playing them.
People don't often understand how difficult and how challenging it is to try to reschedule a game in any sports league. There's so many things that are behind the scenes that you have to figure out. First of all, you got building availability, you got the travel, the expenses that go along with it, hotel availability. I mean, there's a million factors that go into it. So it's not just a matter of let's just pick a date and go for it.
That's exactly right. The dates we'd like to play, they're playing on the weekend. So there's no weekend date available for us to play when we both are not playing. So that's a problem, giving up a Friday night and having to play a Tuesday or Wednesday. So, and then you have to look in, will youth hockey give the night up? Or will figure skating, if they have an event, will they give the night up? That after we get our ice booked, then the building's job is to go out and secure and book ice. And they can't hold every night for you, and it's happened one time. So I'm sure that when we work with WAHA, that our youth association, they'll do a great job trying to accommodate us, and we should have that worked out here shortly.
So you end up with an unscripted 10 day break here in early November. And, there's 2 schools of thought. One, you could say, well, that allows some guys to kind of mend some bumps and bruises and be ready to go. But there's also the side of it where, guys can lose a little bit of an edge without having that game speed repetition. How do you as a coach approach that?
Well, when you don't have a choice, then we're going to approach it that the glass is half full, and we'll approach it as, if there is a little bit of rust in the first period, so be it. But for the most part, we're going to look at it as it's given a few guys to heal some bumps and bruises. But maybe even more important, it's a little mental break. That we've been playing so much hockey that mentally, as inexperienced as we are, maybe that was some of the issues last Wednesday night, that we just made a lot of mental mistakes. So hopefully we heal up physically and we get a little fresher mentally, and we're ready to get after it on Friday.
Friday, the West Kelowna Warriors will be making their first visit of the season here to our building. We have seen them once up there in theirs, and we had some success there. Talk about the matchup on Friday. We'll start with that one.
Again, West Kelowna is one of the older teams in the league this year. Very well coached. They play hard. They'll be one of the more physical teams in the league. And again, their special teams have been good. So, you know what? I think it's it should be a great battle for us, a great test. And one of the things that I've always been a little jealous of is the coaches in the interior division. They recruit, and they say it a lot, that they play in the best division in junior hockey. And I think our fans are starting to see that you're seeing Merritt coming on strong right now, that any given night in this division, anyone can beat anyone, and I think that's it's shown to be true. And it's making it a lot of fun right now.
Saturday will be a very interesting night as well. A lot of fun with the Military Appreciation Night and all the things that go along with that. I know there's the specialty jerseys the guys are going to be wearing, and they tend to always get a little excited when they have those to show off throughout the night. Prince George makes their only visit of the year here, and there's still a little bit of that from last year in the playoff series that kind of lingers in the minds of some of the members of Wild Nation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I'm not going to comment. I'm going to leave that one alone right now. Again, they're going to drop the puck, and they're two completely different teams. Yeah, I think our fans and the few players we have back, I think we have long memories.
Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very exciting night on Saturday as we wrap up a short homestand and then back on the road the following week for 3 games. Beyond that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the business side of things. Of course, there's 2 huge sides to any hockey operation. You've got what fans see on the ice, and then there's the operation that takes place in the office. And we've had some change and some very positive change and some growth happening here in the office this week. I wanted to give you as GM an opportunity to talk a little bit about that.
Well, you're right. There's a lot that goes into not just putting a team on the ice, recruiting and having things ready to go for them. But it takes a team up in the office on the business side. It's a full team to put people in the stands, and from the anthem singer to off-ice officials to our AV booth, to the volunteers, to the ushers, to your show, and along the way, you have to sell tickets. You have to sell season tickets. During the season, to be successful, you have to sell a lot of groups. And anyways, we have a staff that does that, and I think they do it very well. We had Katie Leonardville resigned. She has another position someplace else, and we wish her well. Thank her for the good things that she's done here. And we've also had an intern, Daryl Mitzel, who's done a nice job. She's got a sports marketing degree, and we've hired her as a full-time employee. We're excited about the, youthful enthusiasm that she brings. And Aaron Roberts. We've hired Aaron to help with group sales, and so anytime you start adding people, they bring in fresh ideas, new contacts. So we're very excited there, and Gretchen Littler, she'll go from the majority of her time was spent on group sales. She'll continue to sell groups, but she'll also take on Katie's role, and I know she's excited about that. I know as a program here, we're excited that we know where we're at as a hockey club, that we think we have some really good hockey ahead of us with this group. We're really excited, and with David White's leadership, we're real excited with some of the things that we have coming up here, and looking forward to the second half of the season also.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time, as always, for this show, and look forward to seeing you out there this weekend. Best of luck.
Thanks, Arch.
That's been this week's edition of Call of the Wild. We'll catch you next week. Have a great week, everybody.
You've been listening to Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild, a presentation of the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.